blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
I have been
You
amazing.
brought
You
me
don't
here.
appreciate anything.
No, you brought me
That's
here.
the problem.
You're the biggest scammer in the world.
Right.
These two were having two separate fights. They're yelling on top of each other. So it's no wonder that they're getting nowhere. Jasmine and Gino's communication is some of the worst we've ever seen. So should it really come as a surprise that Jasmine has now gone looking elsewhere to find someone to talk to?
But Jasmine, at the end of the day, Gino doesn't realize that there is literally probably hundreds of thousands of men that would jump in 3 seconds to be with you.
Deja vu, anyone? Not another secret male friend. I think the fact that there are men who'd jump in 2 seconds to be with her is precisely what she wants. But before we get to that, let's rewind to the start. So it comes as literally no surprise to anyone that just 8 months after tying the knot, these two have checked into the last resort to hopefully save their marriage with some counselling. But if the fight on night 1 is anything to go by, their marriage is beyond saving. They're doomed.
Last night got out of control, didn't it?
Honestly,
We both were calling each other names.
But
I'm sorry for saying all the nasty things I said last night.
Things definitely got heated, and yet again, as always, they spent the night sleeping in separate beds. But when we join them today in the cold light of day, they make a truce to try and go easy on each other. But there are still some things that Gino wants to get off his chest. He wants to know where Jasmine went for days on end without telling him.
By the second day you told me you were with your friend.
And that is a friend that we have in common. I told you, I am with Brandy. And that night, I was very mad, but I'm sorry that I made you worry.
This might actually be a first. Day 1, and the therapy might already be working. Both Gino and Jasmine have now apologised. That's more progress than we've ever seen from these two. Like, normally after an argument, one of these two will dig their heels in. They'll refuse to budge from their position. Need I remind you of the potato peeler incident?
Just because I asked you to peel a few potatoes.
Why are you crying like that?
Yeah, but after last night, Gino's decided to trust his wife.
I've had the night to sleep on things, and, I'm feeling a little bit better about the fact that I don't believe that Jasmine is sleeping at a guy's house.
It's an interesting time to choose to start trusting her after she literally said to him, you don't want to know the real answers to those questions. Yeah, I really hope that decision doesn't come back to bite him in the arse. Now, for day 2 of the retreat, the therapists have organised for the couples to head into the middle of the Arizonan desert. And Jasmine is already thinking of a survival strategy in case things go wrong.
If we get lost in the desert and we have to survive and we are cannibals, I will eat Benny for sure. Because
You like the muscle.
the muscle.
One thing about these two, right, is despite their marriage crumbling before our very eyes, they do both still have the same sense of humour. Jasmine's very dark, very funny, very matter-of-fact with her humour, and Gino is exactly the same. They finish off each other's jokes. It's one of the few things their characters actually mesh well together on. It's a small thing, right, but it is the kind of tiny thing that might be the reason why they're actually together. But they are now about to be put to the test.
This is called Compromise Canyon.
So for the first part of this exercise, I want you guys to really think about an issue within the relationship.
The therapist tells everyone to grab rocks and write their issues on them. Those rocks will then be carried in a backpack on a hike. Why? Well, it represents carrying the weight of your partner's problems and learning how to compromise. So with Jasmine, Gino, Natalie and Josh grouped together, they come across a checkpoint where the goal is to discuss and then come to a compromise on the issues that they're carrying with them.
So I grew up in my rock independence with a broken heart. I feel unappreciated. I feel unvalued. and unhappy.
Now, of course, independence is something that Jasmine has brought up to Gino in the past. Since moving to Michigan, she feels like Gino is constantly trying to control her. She's in a vulnerable position. She's found herself reliant on him for everything, whether that be buying tampons or getting a lift to the gym. And while she does now have her green card, while she can now fend for herself, it turns out her situation hasn't really changed since.
But now that I got my green card, reality has hit me and I still don't have any sort of independence. I'm still in the same situation.
Without my driver's license, Jasmine complains, I'm still stuck. I can't go anywhere, I can't get a job, and that means I'm still entirely reliant on Gino's support. But, she says, I don't get it. I don't get any support from Gino. But just look at Gino's face. As Jasmine begins reeling off her long list of complaints, it's clear he really doesn't agree.
Gino doesn't want to drive me anywhere. So I don't have a car, I don't have a driver's license.
To feel like I regain my independence, I need you to get me a car.
I'm not asking for anything fancy, Jasmine says. I don't need you to get me a brand new BMW. Get me a crappy second-hand car, she says. Now, let's not forget, this is actually an issue close to Josh and Natalie's heart too. Josh did buy Natalie a car and they're not even married, they're barely even together. So what's stopping Gino from doing the same? Why is he so against it?
It's not that I'm not buying you one, it's because I can't afford it. There's a difference.
No, you can't anything. You're incapable
I can't
of
afford
anything in life.
And you don't appreciate anything anyway, but keep going.
Ah, yes. Gino's infamous money issues. I was wondering when they were going to crop up again. Gino conveniently never seems to have money for, the important things. Visas, paperwork, attorneys, getting her children to the States. And yet, somehow, he still always manages to find the funds to be able to whisk her away on vacation every other week. I mean, Gino's go-to response is to always tell Jasmine to stop complaining and just be thankful for what you do get.
You don't appreciate anything,
you know what?
so let's put the rock in the bag, let's keep going.
With a man like you, I will never get independence, Mama.
Let's go.
I'm gonna get my independence, Mama.
Again, this was supposed to be about Jasmine's rock, her independence, but Gino has spun it to be about her lack of appreciation. Now, because they couldn't find a compromise, they're forced to carry the rock back with them. But Jasmine isn't done yet. You see, she now ramps up her attack. She accuses Gino of bringing her to the States with false promises.
The only reason you brought me to this country with empty promises that you were gonna be an amazing husband, a father to my children.
Just a reminder here, because it's very important, these two met on a sugar baby, sugar daddy dating website. Yeah, I mean, I think that set the tone, that set the dynamic for why they're even together in the first place. Let's just say it as it is. Would she really have been with him? Would she really have married him if she had any clue that he's as broke as he says he is? I don't think so. Frankly, Jasmine does have a point. Gino has changed the goalposts significantly. He sold her the dream, he took care of her for a while, he made her believe that if she were to come to the States, that life that she became accustomed to would continue, only to get her to Michigan and then completely pull the rug from under her feet. He's massively failed to deliver those promises, even though he seems to think he has.
Blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
I have been
You
amazing.
brought
You
me
don't
here.
appreciate anything.
No, you brought me
That's
here.
the problem.
You're the biggest scammer in the world.
Right.
Look, there is some validity to that. Gino was the one that, for some insane reason, quit his job just as Jasmine was coming to the States. Like, that still doesn't make sense to me. At a time when he'd need more income than ever, he now has none. He's now claiming poverty. But, be that as it may, the situation is what it is. Like, Jasmine now needs her own money. She needs to start doing things on her own. So, why is supposedly supportive Gino denying his wife these basic needs? Could it be that he enjoys the sense of power that gives him? He enjoys knowing that Jasmine needs him. Because if that's the case, Jasmine refuses to play along any longer.
Because you
There's a
never,
K-1
you
visa
never
and your
want
green
me to
card.
independence. You never want, and you know what, Gino? I'm gonna do it all by myself.
Now, I don't know what the deal is with Natalie's ear-to-ear grin while this is going on. She's really enjoying watching this, and I find it a bit weird. Like, I don't know if she's smiling like this because she's enjoying their misfortune, their fight, or maybe she's patting herself on the back. She's feeling proud for the fact that she's been able to get from Josh what Jasmine hasn't been able to get from Gino. Either way, the next morning, Gino and Jasmine appear to have cooled off again. Despite their very evident frustrations, they try again to try and be civil to one another.
I feel like we're not going anywhere. Like, this therapy sessions have not helped us yet. And, you know, I'm really worried.
I'm really worried that our relationship, our marriage, is going down the drain, says Gino. But while he claims they're not progressing, actually, I think from an outside perspective, they have grown a lot. Like, take, for example, the way that Jasmine comes in and thanks Gino. She thanks him for making his bed. And that's the kind of thing that maybe a year ago she wouldn't have done.
Oh, good. You made up your bed.
Yeah. Proud of me?
Now, she takes it a step further when she says she hopes that by the end of this retreat, in 3 weeks' time, maybe they can progress back to sharing the bed together, being intimate together, which is something that Gino also says he wants.
Who knows, maybe by the end of the retreat, we might be able to get to that point.
Yeah, I want to rescue like a few positive things, but our intimacy is like going down the drain, like it's getting worse.
Look, sex has always been a huge issue for these two, right? And while unfortunately we know in way too graphic a detail the kinky stuff that Gino's into, we also know that Jasmine places a huge deal of importance on feeling that her husband is sexually attracted by her. Her entire self-esteem, her self-worth seems linked to that fact. Like, when she doesn't feel like he's attracted to her, she equates that to feeling like she's not loved. But the thing is, it's not just sex. Jasmine and Gino barely even touch anymore.
It makes me feel like I have to beg for attention. I have to beg for love. Why? Why did you marry me?
It's the age-old issue. It's a reoccurring nightmare at this point. Gino's made it crystal clear that he needs to not fight in order to be in the mood, and yet all they seem to do is fight. Now, I get it. I get that it's annoying for Jasmine. She's different. She's not as sensitive. She's happy to do it wherever, whenever. But if she knows what Gino wants, if she knows what she's got to do, then surely that should be her focus.
I'm not with a woman that's kind to me
Gino,
and nice to me and gentle with me. I don't have that kind of girl. Like, everyone here has a girl like that.
Oh, Gino, talk about putting your foot in it. That wasn't the right thing to say. There's a right way of going about it and a wrong way of going about it. And comparing her to every other woman in the resort isn't what any wife wants to hear. And particularly isn't what a woman with self-esteem issues like Jasmine wants to hear. The truth is, Jasmine has never been that girl. If he's after someone that's gentle, that's just not her. But when he then takes it a step further by saying he doesn't think they should even stay in the same bedroom together, that marks the end of the civil conversation. It's over. Jasmine has now been officially triggered.
I'm getting the out of this resort. I cannot deal with this anymore because you are a person that constantly insults me.
Sorry, but it's the pot calling the kettle black. These two are just as bad as each other. They both insult one another. And when they do, that's when things turn nasty. Now, for the time being, for as emotional as she's becoming, Jasmine doesn't raise her voice yet. She tears up. She tells Gino that she's tired of this. She's tired of being insulted. She's tired of being made to not feel special. And she's tired of being in a sexless marriage.
I deserve to be loved. I deserve happiness. This is it.
Psycho. That's what she is, a psycho.
Now, while Gino eventually saunters over and has breakfast with the rest of the cast, Jasmine isn't ready to face everyone yet. She feels like she can't talk to Gino, so she calls someone that she can talk to. Who? Her sister? Her mum, perhaps? Well, not quite. The voice on the other end of the phone is a mystery man called Matt.
Matt is a friend,
He was one of my best friends in Michigan. I met him at the gym and we started working out together. After spending some time, we became friends.
Right. Jasmine really needs to stop with the double standards here. If the roles were to be reversed, if Gino were to not only work out with but become best friends with another woman, if he were to ring her up and talk about relationship issues with her, there's absolutely no way that Jasmine would be alright with that. She'd lose her shit, wouldn't she? So why is it okay for her to do?
Jasmine, how are you?
I want to go home. I don't want to be here. And the way he makes me feel, it's like I am the problem. Like no one will ever love me.
Jasmine.
Again, very, very not cool, Jasmine. And guess what? Gino doesn't even know about Matt's existence. She's kept it completely hidden from him, just like she did with her ex Dane over in Panama. Yeah, she claims that she wants love and respect from Gino, but look at her. Look at her completely disrespecting Gino. Why? Why is she keeping this supposed friendship secret? It doesn't make sense. It's shady. And I call it friendship in the loosest possible sense, because I don't think it is friendship. Matt clearly seems like he wants something more.
But, Jasmine, at the end of the day, Gino doesn't realize that there is literally probably hundreds of thousands of men that would jump in 3 seconds to be with you.
Hundreds of thousands of men, Matt. Do you mean you? Which makes you wonder, is he who Jasmine has been spending her nights with?
Don't ask questions of things you don't want to know.
No. I've had the night to sleep on things, and, I'm feeling a little bit better about the fact that I don't believe that Jasmine is sleeping at a guy's house.
Yeah, remember when I said I hope it doesn't come back to bite him in the arse? I think it will. I think it already has. Look, say what you want about Gino, right? The guy has a lot of issues. No one's denying that. But he's there, isn't he? He's there at the resort. He's there at counselling, trying to make it work. He's trying to save their marriage. Unfortunately, as much as she might claim she is, I don't think Jasmine is in the same boat. I think her head has already been turned. I think whether or not she's cheated, the fact she's turning to Matt, the fact she's seeking comfort from another man, means their marriage is as good as dead.